Hi viewers and students, my name is Eugene and I'm currently a teacher for animation and graphic design courses here at a local university in Malaysia. This video is part of a series of videos that deals with three areas in After Effects, which is parenting. This particular video will focus on parenting, but it will also include elements of composition and nesting, as well as some expression scripts that we will be using. This is one of three videos. The other two videos is in the link that is appearing right now. You can check those out, and they are also using these three components, which is parenting, nesting, and also simple expression scripts. Predominantly, we'll be using wiggle and loop for these videos. All right. And now, if you would like to get the image file that I'm using, in this video or in other videos in my YouTube channel, you can just send me a message on my Facebook page, which is in the description below. I'll give you a link for you to download this particular file so that you can try out this piece of animation in your home as well. All right, so now to start off, I always like to show anyone who's trying to learn After Effects how my file is, my Photoshop file, which is where I create all of my images. In this case, I have here a rocket ship and some asteroids, and the rocket has a force field. I will want to show you right now what is the animation that we are trying to achieve. Uh, okay, this is the scene. So you get the rocket ship kind of coming in, releasing a force field, and then moving into the field of asteroids, bumping it out of the way. So it's a pretty short, simple, like 6-second animation, I think. But we will be using parenting, definitely. We will also be using composition, nesting, and also some expression scripts to create the loop of the flame, and as well as some wiggle in the flame as well. Okay, so let's get started with, first of all, the Photoshop file. Now I have all of the asteroids in different layers, all 5 of them. And for the fire, I have actually separated into 3 different flames, and I will loop them. I have the force field, yeah, which, sorry, I kind of spelled wrongly for I feel. And the rocket itself, the spaceship, and of course this beautiful textured background, which is like an outer space kind of sky. All right, so I've imported this file into After Effects, and I've imported in using composition retain layer sizes, which is why the bounding box for each object is very nicely around it. Now if you would like to know a little bit more of this technique or the method I'm importing files in, you can check out my video on importing After Effects files. I think it's good to have some foundation to know why we import it in this way. Okay, now coming back to this. Now the first thing I want to do for this is to actually animate the fire. All right. Now in order to animate this fire, which is made out of 3 different layers, right? 1, 2. Let's move the force field. Let's just switch the force field off. So the fire is made out of, let's zoom in here to the spaceship. Fire 1, fire 2, that's fire 2, and then fire 3. Okay, so what we're going to do is nest all of this into one composition. And how do we do that? Control, you select all of this tree, all right, and you go Control Shift C. Once you've done that, all 3 of this will be placed into a separate composition, of which we will name fire. So we're going to pre-compose these 3 images one composition by itself. All right. So we click on this. So we have this composition here, which is called fire, and it has all these 3 flames there. All right. Now, what we're going to do next is we are going to crop this composition because it's relatively large and we don't need all this extra space. So what we're going to do is we're going to crop it using the region of interest. Yeah, so That's the area that we want. Usually I like to give it a little bit of access, okay, just to be on the safe side. And go to composition, crop, comp to region of interest. All right. And the next thing I want to do is to loop this fire once only, okay? And I'm gonna let each fire image last for about 3 frames, all right? So I'm gonna select all 3 of them and bring my playback hit to 3 frames, which is here, around here. And let's zoom in, and we're gonna crop all of this. So it's gonna stop at 3 frames, well, 3 frames here, okay? Now, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna offset each one so that what you get is an image that shows fire 1, fire 2, fire 3. So it kind of has a little bit of an animation right now, okay, going on. Now, the next thing is I'm going to shorten this composition because right now it is 10 seconds long and I don't need it that long. I need it right up till here, only at 12 frames. So I'm just going to go composition settings, type 12 frames, and done. So that's all for the composition. And if you want to know if it's working or not, in fact, you can preview it right now and put the preview on loop. So when you play it, you'll notice that, okay, we have a bit of animation going on, all right? Now, go back to the rocket scene. We're gonna name this main composition as rocket scene, all right? Oops, sorry, rocket scene. Now, fire is one composition on its own, and right now it's nested into rocket scene. And where is the fire right now? Because we cropped it, it has kind of shifted. We will need to move this animated piece of fire now to the back of the rocket, and we're done. So, but it only plays once. So what we're gonna do in order to loop it? So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna select fire. We're gonna go to composition, layer, and time, enable time remapping. All right, what that does, it extends this a lot longer. In fact, fills up the entire 10 seconds of this composition. All right, so we are able to remap the time for this flame however long we want. But what we want to do is we want to take this keyframe and keep looping it round and round. So we want basically to tell this animation to go here all the way to this keyframe and then come back here and loop it again. So how do we do that? Using an expression, all right? And how do we add an expression to this time remapping? Is we hold down the alternate key, click on the stopwatch, and type in loop, L-O-O-P, capital O-U-T, open bracket, open inverted commas, cycle, close inverted commas, comma, 0, close bracket. All right, so that's what we're going to type and click away to somewhere else. And what you will get is a fire that will continually loop. So what this expression is basically telling the time remap to do, to go back and loop within these 2 keyframes continually. Now, I would like to actually animate this fire a little bit more because I'm not really satisfied with it just looping within those 3 images. I actually want it to kind of jitter in terms of shape. So I'm going to pull the anchor point back down here so that if it changes in shape, it doesn't change from the center of the fire, but at the base of the fire where it's coming out. All right. So what we're going to do is press on scale, hold down your alternate key and on the keyboard and click on the stopwatch and type in a wiggle expression. So that's W-I-G-G-L-E, open bracket. The first value, all right, if you look at my tutorial for the wiggle script that I use on Marty the Fly, the first value, I'm just going to repeat it here in this video. denotes how many times a value, for example, now scale, changes within 1 second. So if I type, let's say 2, it means that the value or the scale of this object will change 2 times within 1 second. Then comma, followed by the value or the amount of it will change. So if I put there 20, it means 20% of the current scale. So right now it's at 100%, it might go below or above. So it might reduce itself to about 80%, then it will increase to about 120% and then go down to probably 95% within that range. So this 20 is telling it the range percentage. It could be 20 above or below. All right, so let's see what happens. So you can see that the scale is changing slightly as well, and that's nice enough of a animation, a subtle animation that I want. Okay, so now what happens is next is I want to kind of just arrange these asteroids to be in the path of this spaceship so that it can bump them out of the way. Okay, just make sure that it comes. All right, and now the next thing I want to do is switch on the force field again. All right, so we have the force field. Now I'm going to move this spaceship back and forth, but I can't just move it right now just yet. What I need to do is I need to parent the objects that need to move with the spaceship, which is what this tutorial is about, right? Parenting. Okay, so the spaceship right now is moving independently on its own, but I want the fire to follow it. All right, so I'm going to click on the fire, and there are two ways. You can see the word here on the timeline, parent. There are two ways you can parent an object to another object. For example, you can choose from the drop-down menu here and choose spaceship, or you could use the pick whip, click and drag to the word spaceship. And you need to do the same for the force field because the force field needs to move with the spaceship. So click on the force field's pick whip and parent it to the spaceship. Now when you move the spaceship, both the fire and the force field is moving together with the spaceship. But if you move the force field, the spaceship will not move. Just imagine the concept of what, well, it's called parent for a reason. It's because there's what you're trying to do is create a hierarchy of objects of who follows who. Usually the parent would follow, the child would follow the parent, but the parent won't necessarily follow the child, all right? So if the spaceship is moving in this direction, you notice that all the child, which is the fire and the force field, will move with the spaceship. But if the child is going to go off on his own and kind of play around on the other side, the spaceship's not going to follow. It's going to just sit still, right? Okay, so now we've got that done. So what we're going to do is animate the spaceship right now. Okay, so at 0 seconds, I'm going to just keyframe this and push the spaceship. I think the spaceship is a bit large, so probably we'll just shrink this down a little bit more to about 80%, 84%, that's fine, okay? And I'm gonna shift this guy out. And then I think it takes about probably 2.5 seconds for the spaceship to arrive at this point. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of a ease in so that it kind of just slows down and contemplates. Now, what we're going to do with the force field is I don't want to switch on the force field yet. What I want to do is as it comes in, the force field appears before it enters. So it activates the force field before it enters the asteroid field. So I'm going to press on S to scale down the force field to 0. All right. So at this point, it's going to scale down to 0. And as it extends, I'm going to have it kind of overshoot 120% and then only settle down so that there's that kind of follow through, and then let it shrink back down to 100%. So it has that kind of follow through effect. And I'm going to select all of these keyframes in the chart and click on Easy Ease so that there is a little bit, so that the motion looks a little bit more appealing. Okay. Yeah, so we need to apply all of these principles of animation. Even though it's very, very simple animation, the principles should still apply. Okay, so now let's have a preview. The spaceship slows down, force field is activated, and then, and I think probably I won't wait for the, well, probably it should. It should wait for the spaceship to stop for a while, activate the force field, and then it starts moving. So as it moves in, probably it takes about 1 second or probably longer, because it wants to look a little bit more careful as it kind of barges through the force field. So as it moves through the force field, maybe I'm gonna just rotate the spaceship slightly. So I'm gonna create a keyframe here, move the spaceship down, rotate it a little bit, bump those out of the way, and then move back up and bump those out of the way. Yeah, so I'm gonna have them move like this and then straighten again. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, so now it's moving forward carefully. In fact, if you want to extend these keyframes, you can select all of them, hold down your alternate key, click and drag them so that they are further apart. And I think I'm okay with the motion. And what I'm going to do next is manually move the asteroids away as soon as the force field reaches. So for example, like I'm going to drag my playback head to this point where it's about to reach this first asteroid. In fact, it reaches 2 at the same time. So both of these guys need to move off. So I'm just going to animate one for you to see, and the rest I'm going to just speed up the video. So I'm going to press P and R, because as you bump it out of the way, you want the asteroid to also rotate. So I'm just start keyframe these two, and as it bumps off, I think it could go off screen and rotate it slightly. And of course, please add in some easy ease. It would make your animation a lot more convincing. All right, just a simple adjustment like that. In fact, I think the movement might be, because when you hit something like that, it might move very suddenly and then slow down. So yeah, position, so it slows down to it. So it moves quite abruptly and then it kind of slows down. Same goes with the rotation. Yeah, all right. So let's kind of see how it looks like before I speed up the video to do the other asteroids. Boom. Oh, that's a bit fast. Perhaps a little bit slow, so we select just these two because it's only two sets of keyframes. So we're going to select this and pull it away so that it moves off a bit slower. Let's see how it looks like now. Yeah, looks a little bit better, a bit slower. Okay, so at this point of time, I'm going to just repeat the same process for the rest of the asteroids. Okay, so I've moved all the asteroids, so let's have a look and a preview of how it looks like as a whole. All right, good. Okay, let's play. So the spaceship comes in, releases a force field, and bumps through the asteroid field. All right. So I hope this tutorial gives you a good idea of what parenting does and how you can hook things up together and have them move together. You can do it for a rocket ship. In the other tutorial with Marty the Fly, we parent his wings and all of his body parts together with his body. So for more videos on motion graphics with Adobe After Effects or illustration methods using Adobe Photoshop and Illustrator, please click on the subscribe button. Just a reminder, if you want to do this tutorial and would like my image file, please contact me via my Facebook page, which is in the description below. Also, do follow me on Instagram at eugenosaurus.fu. I'll see you guys again. You might also be interested to check out the basics of After Effects video, or you could check out one of the 3-part videos that deals with parenting, composition nesting, and simple scripts.